Good morning, everybody. Holy moly, it's one of those claustrophobic days. I'm scared to move because I'm going to knock something over. So I'll just, maybe, you know what, maybe I need some plant support. That's what this guy is. He's my support plant. So that's what we're talking about today is plant support. But we're talking about actual physical support, not how much plants support us when we really need them, and the joy of greenery and whatnot, and not like most of my plants that seem to sometimes be on life support and not doing great. This is all about the support your plant needs. So you may have heard me discuss stages to planting. And with that, you know, when you put a tomato in the ground, you know, it might only be this big, right? It might be tiny. Maybe you're ambitious and you grew it from seed as a tomato and it's literally shooting up, okay? And I advise this all the time. Get a tomato cage on it right away, because once it's up to this height and it starts bending or the leaves come out and you're trying to fit this over and tuck leaves in, you run the risk of damaging your plant, which is exactly counterproductive to putting on the supports. So, you know, what exactly is a support? There's two main reasons why we support a plant. One, they need it to actually grow properly and maintain. And then the other can be aesthetic, okay? Maybe you've got a long fence and it's the traditional wood panel brown fence. Great, great for property line, bit of privacy, keeps the doggos in the yard, all of that good stuff. But it might not be what you call pretty. Well, you can get things like this, and this is a ridiculously popular trellis. This one's called Little Twigs. If I turned it around the right way, you could see why. Because these all look like little twigs. Now you can stick this in the ground. As you can see, it's pointed, and it's pointed on both ends, like that. And you can stick it in the ground, or you can put nails or screws and you can mount it on the fence. Another great thing you can do, and a lot of people love this one, is you can take ones like this, okay? And this is an accordion style, and you can do it like this way. And I don't have enough room to fully stretch it out, but I am getting a good workout, okay? Or you can even go vertical with it, and you can do that. So you have to support a plant, but you might also want to put something up for aesthetics. So now you've broken up the fence, you put a trellis, some art on it per se. Now what are you going to plant there? Well, you could plant beans, peas, you can plant a clematis, you can plant a kiwi vine, a grapevine. There are a ton of different things you can plant. So when you're talking about supports, we're talking about aesthetic and necessity. So maybe you're going to grow a ton of peas. We love peas. We really do. A lot of times the trick is getting them from the garden into the house, because Harry will walk by, pick them all off and eat them all. But the day I complain about my kid eating fresh organic vegetables out of the garden, not going to happen. But maybe you just want to go with something like this. It's a chicken wire. You can see it's a grill like that. You put it somewhere, take a stapler, a staple gun, a small tacking nail, tack it in, unwind it for as long as it goes, tack it in, and let the peas do their thing. Is it pretty? No. But you know what? It's going to be covered by peas. You can use this for your sweet peas. Run it vertically as well. And this is a very, very just functional thing. Same with this one, okay? Not much to it. Very standard, normal trellis. Works great for peas. The thing I like about this one, you're going to get years and years and years of use out of it. The other one is kind of a one and done. I try and save mine every year because I'm foolish like that. And I'm trying to pick all the vines out of it and whatnot. Normally it ends up all bent and creased and wrinkled. It might have rusted. Certainly don't want to bring rust into the garden, that kind of thing. So normally these are one and done. And some other basic stakes we've got. And again, you know, you're not talking pretty of these. just a hardwood stake. These are great for things like delphiniums. You know, they grow up big, tall flower. They look beautiful, but sometimes under the weight of the flower, they can start coming down. And bamboo sticks. And we've got these in all different sizes. I just got one. And these are very, very functional. There's not much form to them, but they work. And sometimes, hey, I can be guilty of it. You should see some of the things I've jury rigged in my garden to keep my plants up. Some of the things I've done for sunflowers. At the end of the day, if it works, it ain't dumb, right? And then even ones like this, okay, bit more durable than a bamboo stake. This is a metal spiral, great for things to crawl up. You can even feed perennials through it. It'll hold it. These are great year after year. But again, nothing super pretty, functional. And I can't say enough about these. I know how ridiculously popular peonies are in Calgary. Myself, I'm not a fan of them. But again, this is not one size fits all. My wife loves them. I don't like them. We have peonies, right? That's how it works out. And I got no problem. If I'm going to have them, they're going to look great. If you like it, you got to put a ring on it, okay? To quote, I think that was Beyonce. Was it Beyonce? Brandy's laughing at me. But if you like it, put a ring on it. And these, we hybridize so many plants because we want a big showy flower and we want it to be beautiful. We want it to stand out in our gardens. We really want, you know, our plants to look their best. So you go to all the effort of getting these peonies and flowers this big. Like, you know, we grew flowers one year. By the time we moved in, there were peonies. It took a couple of years. By the time I fertilized them and did everything great, we had flowers this big. Well, the stem is only this thick, so it comes up and then it snaps. Put a ring on it, okay? And again, put the ring on it before it blooms. The moment you see your peonies coming up in the spring and they're those red little points coming out the ground, slap a ring on it. The moment you've sown your seeds for your peas, get your trellis there. The moment you put your tomato in, get your trellis. The moment you've done your sweet peas or something, put one of these up and look at the versatility on these. There's so many different ways you can support your plants. But let's also consider aesthetics, right? Because a lot of us do our gardens and we want them to look beautiful. And maybe you've got somewhere, it's ideal for a hanging basket. There's nothing to hang the hanging basket on. Get an ornate hook. Okay, look, it even comes with the screws. And that is just going to go into the wood. It's going to sit there. It can go on a fence. It can go on a deck. It can go anywhere. And you've got that. And there's all, I just grabbed a few. But there's different styles and there's different shapes. Again, it's not one size fits all. Now, maybe you've got an area out somewhere. You want your hanging basket, but you don't have a fence. You don't have a deck. You've got nothing. And you want a hanging basket there. An independent standing shepherd's hook. So just look above me. I'll show you the bottom. It's that. Take a soft mallet or your foot if the ground's good enough. Get that into the ground. You want this bar tight on the ground. Like you want to, normally I always say, you know, you're firming it down. You're not compacting it. This sucker, you want it in, okay? And then you put your basket on it and voila, now you've got a hanging basket where you couldn't have had one before. Maybe you want one front and center in your garden, one on either side of a walkway as an entrance. That's where these come in. And these, because they are going to stand alone, are going to add that aesthetic quality. They are adding the form to the functionality. And, you know, a question I get asked a lot, I don't think that, you know what, I'm lying it down. A question I get asked a lot is about houseplants. And that's what this one is here. So this hanging basket here, okay, it looks amazing in the garden. Standing in a deck with a hanging basket around it. It can be viewed 360. If it's not getting sun, it's easy to turn. Looks amazing. What about indoors? So this fern is an indoor plant, okay? Maybe you have a room and there's not really any wood. It's all drywall. You don't know how to find a stud. You don't want a big hook sticking out your wall with a hanging basket hanging off it. It's going to look weird. Maybe hanging a hook isn't in your skill set. It's not your forte. Whatever the reason, something like this is great. I know some people, if I were to mount this hook and put a hanging basket on it, and I was deliberately putting it up high, that's awesome. Brandy's like, down, we can't see it. But that's the point. If I mounted this, I'd mount it up here. Well, somebody who's 5'2" is going to have difficulty watering that. So this comes in great. And also things like this, you put a hook above, something like that. Now you're playing with dimensions. This can go on the front stoop. You've got to always think about all the different dimensions. So when you're thinking plant support, first and foremost, and I said this at the beginning and I'll say it again, the function has to come first, okay? There's no point putting something super pretty like this in for your tomato plant. It's not going to do any good. Putting this in for your peppers, putting this and trying to hang a hanging basket off it, it's not going to work. So the first thing you have to think of is, what is the functionality do you need? Do you need something strong and rigid for a hanging basket? Do you need something that's going to cover a big area for a relatively low price for all of your peas and beans? Do you need something because you're putting in a clematis and you want it to come back year after year, and you want something with a bit of style and form? So always look for functionality, then look at form, because without the functionality, the form means nothing. So that wraps up plant supports. I know they get missed every year. The amount of times I've had to deal with people who've come in and their tomato has collapsed, or their clematis is just a heap on the ground, or their peas or beans are being ruined by disease because they had nothing to crawl up. They just sat on the ground and got rot into them. So I hate it when I see an easily avoidable problem. So I hope this gives you guys a bit of enlightenment into all the ways you can support your plants, the fun things. And again, find out what your plant needs and then figure out if there's a way to do it to match your aesthetic. So that wraps us up. Plant support. And then don't forget, you support the plant, they support you back. This is my support fern. It's giving me encouragement. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon. Okay, bye now.